What's going on, guys? Welcome to the show. Welcome to episode 3 of the AFTERBUZZ TV after show for Riverdale, the actual best show on television right now. Not even kidding. We're going to break down the whole thing for you guys. We'll see you in just 1 second.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Yes! Energy! I love it! Welcome back,
Backstabbing, lies, deceit, shows everything.
Violence.
This is great. The first thing I wrote down was the quote, "I loved him more than myself." That's how I feel about this show right now.
Okay, I think you know that I actually feel that more. I have a Riverdale problem. Like, I can't stop watching the episodes, so I'm
Have you been rewatching them a lot too?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I've rewatched episode 1 like maybe 4 times now.
I think I'm 5.
It's a great pilot.
I'm really enjoying the series, and I feel like there's little things that they're hiding that one day we'll go back and be like, oh, I see. I'm trying to catch them now.
Frank's like, this is great water.
Yeah, this is great, man. This is great. I love it.
It's okay. He's our token pessimist. It's good. It's fine.
He likes
You
the show.
need one.
Welcome, guys. Welcome back to the panel for AfterBuzz TV's after show on Riverdale, episode 3, Body Double. We're already like a chunk of the way through, right? We've only got like what, 75% of the season left or so?
No.
Isn't that only 13, 16, something like that?
Well, I mean,
Only
3 out of
episodes
13.
in, yeah.
I guess we're almost there. We're almost there.
There's so many episodes left. There's
Stop
so much
trying
time.
to end our vacation over here.
Yeah, we're here to break down the episode for you guys. If you're watching for the first time, thanks for tuning in. This is AfterBuzz TV. We're gonna all share our opinions. If you want to follow along with those opinions, you can follow us on Twitter. I'm your host, Ben Bateman. You can find me Twitter and Instagram at Ben Bateman Media. I'm going to go down the panel starting with...
Hey guys, I'm Joelle Monique. You can find me all over the internet at Joelle Monique and every week at blackgirlnerds.com.
And I'm Sam Davidson, and you can find me on SamD43, and I am in the live chat tonight, as are a lot of you, so thank you. Keep on chatting. We'll give you as many shout-outs. Love you guys.
And I'm Frank Moran. You can follow me on all social media there at Happy Go Jackie.
Sweet.
Yes,
You're
sweet.
the number 1 fan.
That's right. Yeah, the number 1 fan. You know, I will just say this up front is that I like Jughead within the context of the show. I do not care for Jughead's writing.
Oh, really?
That
His
prose
book?
hit. Oof,
His
man.
book.
I mean,
Some of
he
that-
is 15.
Yeah, but oh man. 15-year-olds can also write well too. Like this is
Frank's
just
like, you should have
ugh.
seen my writing at 15.
Oh, yeah. Oh man, my slash fiction there was great.
He's
On
like,
point.
I solved 5 murders by that time.
Oh my god, I love it.
So yeah, we're gonna break down the whole thing for you guys. Last but not least, if you want to follow along on iTunes, give us a rating or a review. That would be super cool. It helps us keep the lights on here because we provide free content at AfterBuzz TV. We would love to continue to provide free content. So a rating or a review would be sweet if you want to do that. Otherwise, let's get into the episode, guys.
Yes.
So yeah, it opens up with Cheryl. She's like, I loved him more than I did myself, and she's not actually confessing to anything major, just that she lied about what happened. But then she's like, let me tell you about all of the lying to the police in this murder or death investigation that happened. And then her parents are like, get out of the office. It's okay. This police officer won't detain you. I was like, what? She's just admitted to like lying to you. You're going to let the parents just take her away?
Well, they
She
don't
is
have
a
a
minor.
right to. Well, yeah, I'm saying she's under 18, so they didn't ask their parents to question her. Technically, what they were doing is completely illegal.
Okay.
Cannot question a minor without their parents present or
I've
without the
watched
parents'
too many
permission.
murder shows with teenagers, and
Same.
Got
I
it.
know that.
But it definitely does show that there is certainly a lot of backstory between all the adults within Riverdale.
Yes.
Right.
A very contentious past.
Steamy past,
Yeah,
right?
man, Alice Cooper, what a pill she is.
She's the worst.
She
But
got punched in
she's
the
the
face
best.
today,
Yeah.
and it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was healing.
She went like full heel in
Yes.
this episode. You know what I mean?
Yes.
She really did.
Absolutely.
Yeah, full wrestling. You were definitely like learning a lot more about what's going on though. And one question I had is thinking about Riverdale is a small town. They keep talking about it. This small, this town of Riverdale and the secrets and the shadows and all that. How small of a town do we think Riverdale really is? Like, what would we compare?
population size, kind
Well,
of.
yeah, like what would we compare it to? Like, what's a geographic familiar place we could give for our audience? Like, what do we all think?
I'm not
I
good
would
at
say
that.
less than 22,000.
You think it's like a pretty small? Like, is that like Forks, Washington, in the Twilight series? Is that what that was?
Forks would be smaller. I think Forks was closer to like 14.
Okay.
Riverdale seems like I grew up in a town of 25,000. It was a small farm town. Walmart was our largest building, you
Okay.
know. So it seems like that. Like they have one main street. I would guess between like 15 and 25,000 people.
That sounds about right. I mean, because it seems like there's everybody knows everything about anybody.
Right.
So.
And they've all known each other a long time. It seems like New York is definitely the big city. It's not like in any way. This is not like a slightly above average small town. This is a very, very small town.
Well, as Josie pointed out, this isn't Los Angeles or New York. This is Riverdale.
Right.
But they are like it seems like they're a suburb of New York, somewhere in Connecticut, maybe upstate New York. I mean, I have my little sisters grew up in Connecticut. I basically half grew up there, and it is small, the town, but it's close to New York City, which makes it kind of different.
Right.
But it is because Riverdale is basically its own character, and in the comics, it's this town that's like Pleasantville almost. It's stuck in this like over and over again type of thing. So I do feel it's different. I would like to know exactly where it is.
Is it like The Simpsons where they never tell you where Springfield is?
I really hope so.
And Riverdale's just supposed to exist somewhere, we have no idea, but we can assume maybe it's like, is it like Ohio or something like that is what we're supposed to assume, or we have no idea?
I don't get a Midwest feel from it. We see it because, well, especially because we have that, it's oceany?
Yeah.
Like, is that the ocean or a river or lake? We're not even quite sure what body of water was his face drowned in. I'm not sure. I pictured it as like upstate East Coast.
Okay.
It's Connecticut, New York. I mean, it's close to New York. I think it has to be.
Okay, fair enough. Anybody in the chat that wants to share your thoughts with us about where this is, if you know from the comics, or I feel like the comics don't make reference to that.
Just send us pictures of maps with Riverdale circled on it where you think it is.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So starting out with Archie's music, he gets grounded, except he's not going to accept being grounded because he needs to play music.
I'm not a fan of Archie Andrews after this episode. Like, as much as I love Archie, but it's just like he just does what he wants, and then damn the repercussions, and then nothing really sticks to Archie either. So I mean, at the end, everything turns out roses for Archie.
It was really funny when he got grounded because I thought the grounding looked a lot like a middle school grounding. Like, be in by 7, you're grounded for 2 whole weeks. And Archie was like, yeah, okay. At no point in time was I like, this is a really good way to, like, connect with your son. Because I feel like when you're punishing your child, you're trying to instill, like, some kind of value or help them see the error of their ways. But with no follow-through or follow-up or consequences, as you said, Frank, it seems pretty pointless for, like, his dad to waste his breath.
His dad's basically like, well, Archie, you've defied me all week, but I met your teacher. She's smoking hot, and she thinks you're talented, so I'm building you a recording studio.
Yes.
You guys, we have
Welcome
some
home, son.
input from the chat. Davey Elmers, and I'm pretty sure Riverdale is meant to mean upstate New York, and other people are like, well, it's called Riverdale, so it's a river.
Oh, sure, right, okay.
Well, I mean,
Something.
Sure. You might think, I don't know. My town was on 2 rivers, and nowhere in our name was there any mention of rivers. I don't know. I look like the ocean to me. I like to just think it's the ocean.
Yeah, I don't really get a sense, and I don't expect they're ever going to give us a sense of exactly where
I
it
feel
is.
like
I think that's
bodies
supposed
float
to be.
easier on rivers.
Okay, sure.
Good call. All right.
Right. So because Sweetwater, is it Sweetwater River or Lake?
I think it's river.
Sweetwater River?
So it is a river?
I think this is a
Well,
river
just ignore me. I
situation.
have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah, fair enough. So anyway, Archie, he's like wants to work with the Pussycats, and Cheryl's like, you know what, Archie, stood up. He's like, it's not for you, but I'll give you anything you want.
But
He's
my
like,
body.
Yeah.
Cheryl's amazing.
Wait,
and
she
then
said
also awful.
she said anything you want. She said anything is on the table.
Except my body.
Right. So
Yeah.
she was okay. So she was clarifying. I was making sure that it wasn't like over my head, and I was just missing her just going like full, but she wasn't doing that.
Yeah.
No.
Okay,
And
got
at
it.
that moment, I thought that he had witnessed the whole thing with Betty, Veronica, and Chuck, which we'll get into, but I thought he saw it and he was going to be like, destroy Chuck. But, you know,
Archie doesn't seem the type.
he's
Like,
a little
Archie
oblivious.
will, like, you know, stand up for people. I guess he did get in a fight last week, though. I don't know, maybe. I don't know if he go full ham on Chuck, though.
He's building up to it. I hope he'll just take off his shirt and fight somebody.
Right.
I feel
yeah.
like Betty pretty much took care of business this episode. I don't even
She
think
was
he
pretty.
needed
Yeah,
Archie.
she was pretty
Yes.
savage. They gave us a new Archie with his shirt off moment, but we didn't get the same
And we
flashback of him running
appreciate you
at
for
night.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was interesting because this storyline very much you can see how the series could work without all necessarily they all 4 characters need to be revolving around each other in a plot through the episode. You can really
Right.
splinter them off in various combinations.
So we are going to talk about everything to do with the sticky maple and revenge plot and all that stuff in just a second. But question for you guys. So I feel like in episodic television like this, you have your A storyline, which is like the thing that runs through the whole thing. So in this case, it's the murder mystery. It's getting one step closer to that murder mystery, and that's what's going on. Then you have like the running things that start with the pilot, like his relationship to Miss Grundy. But then you have something like this episode, the whole sticky maple storyline, the revenge plot. All of the details that come from it obviously are going to further the story. And even like Jughead said, they would have repercussions down the line. But like, how do you feel when half of an episode is focused on essentially like a self-contained plot with sort of characters and pieces that are just like,
Did you think it was self-contained?
I feel like some of those, I know that some of those things will show back up, but there was a clear message and a clear like, this is a story that we're using to fill half of this episode because
Okay.
it's like, I don't know, so maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe you see it a different way. I guess I'm asking, how do you guys feel? That happens on TV all the time.
I think it's good for this because you need to be able to broaden the scope of this world. Because if you didn't have these characters that are just going to show up for one episode, maybe for a few episodes, that could be a romantic interest for Betty or Veronica or for Archie.
Right.
They're always going to be just revolving around all four of them. Then you're just going to see them kind of colliding off the four, and then you're going to get really like tired of that permutation. So with adding these fresh characters that you can only get for like an episode or two, I think that's going to help, even though they may have little dangling plots, like you said, like little elements that'll continue
Yeah.
through the series. But you just need to be able to freshen up the dynamic and give the character something else to do rather than just always going to Betty or Archie or
This definitely
Jughead.
feels like a Shondaland-esque situation where if you watch like Grey's Anatomy, like it's Meredith's story, but like you get like, everybody else has like full arcs throughout the season, and I strongly feel like we're gonna get that here too. Like I think Chuck is gonna get his comeuppance, and then this will be our venture into his dad, and then we get more behind the football team, which will lead us back to the murder. I like it. I was kind of excited to see what Veronica's doing on her own. It's kind of nice that she has this autonomy outside of the group, the core group that we know. And then we get to meet Chuck, who, though I hate him, was a really interesting character and brought a lot of drama to this episode.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think also that the reason this storyline was brought in was to bring Betty and Veronica closer together,
Yeah.
but to also show that Betty has a dark side. So Chuck was almost used as like a tool in this situation of
Right.
developing our main characters and showing what they can do and who they really are. So I didn't mind it because I thought that we learned so much about who the girls at least really are, and then we also got introduced to Ethel.
100%. And I didn't mean to say that in any way like I didn't think it was good or relevant. I liked it. I guess what I mean is it's like when you have to put together like 15, 18, 22 episodes of a season, I feel like you could make a shorter 8-episode season that really focuses on the A storyline, which is the murder mystery if you wanted. But that's not really the way TV shows like this work. And it's different than watching like True Detective or something.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
very focused on the,
Well, I'm excited that it's like about the town. Like I'm excited that they're like, we're going full Riverdale. It's not Archie's story. It's not necessarily specifically a murder mystery, but it's about this town of Riverdale and how do these people in the small community get along and survive this kind of tragedy. So it'll be exciting to see if the ramifications get upped. Like right now, it seems all very interpersonal and a lot of smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see how it has like a larger effect.
So before we get fully into the entire revenge plot, let's finish off our conversation here about Archie and the Pussycats. So he gets to go and hang out with them because Cheryl makes a call. She like calls her famous friend basically, and she's like, hang out with my boy Archie, you know. She's like, Josie's like, all right, I'll take care of it. So, you know, Archie gets to go hang out, and he immediately gets to contribute. He writes like a lyric and has some verse ideas for their song. And you can kind of tell that the Pussycats kind of love Archie, and Josie like doesn't really like that. She's kind of resistant to it.
Did very much at first, where she basically says, "Well, who do you think you are to come in and tell me how sing songs about my life or write songs that reflect my life and not my upbringing?"
I liked that even though he is like selfish and he's the straight white male lead on the show, that he was like, "You're right." He was, he listened. She was like, "You don't know my life."
It's very characteristic of Archie, of him being like, oh, well, I want to help everybody, and, I can't know what it's like to be you, so cool. So I was really excited to see that. I was excited that Josie was able to articulate why she was upset, or why she was cautious about letting Archie into the group. I think she has every right to be. Josie doesn't seem to trust most people.
Yeah.
And Archie, who doesn't have any experience or a record of songwriting, coming in and being like, I want to write songs for you. Like, we've been a group for a while. Who are you to come in here and write songs for us? So it was cool. And I did like the eventual song. I think this is the first episode where we really get a chance to hear Josie's vocal range and what she's capable of. And I liked what we heard. I'm excited. I hope we get a love ballad soon.
Yeah, definitely. She's great. That girl is a star.
Yeah.
I did like a bunch of research, watched a bunch of interviews with her this last week, and her story about how she booked it is awesome, and like some of the stuff she's saying about Archie. There was a question that somebody was like, she said on the interview, like, Archie and I are never going to quite see eye to eye. So like, if anybody was wondering, is there going to be a possible romance there? I feel like maybe she doesn't know yet. I'm sure the scripts aren't.
Well, maybe it's two heads butting. I'm not really sure, but I really loved that when Archie came in there and he tried to help, and I thought he was pretty respectful, and he was walking on eggshells, and she's like, what experience do you have, blah, blah. I mean, what experience did any huge star have? Like Bob Dylan, whatever. Like, they walk in there and they're like, well, who are you? And they go, oh, I'm just this dude that's writing songs and trying to perform. And I was like, this is the start of something, almost. That's what I thought when she said that. I was like, oh, cool. A light bulb went off that I thought this is the start of his possibly, like, career.
I liked that also he like wasn't like, I want to perform with you, or you know, it's like, I want to be in my own band. He was like, I want to hear you guys play some of my songs. That's it. I just want to be a songwriter here. Like, you're really talented, and I just want to contribute in any way that I can.
I'm kind of excited to see whether they go the garage band route, which now has a garage in which to practice his music, and Archie does have kind of like a garage band in the modern series, so that would be interesting. But I also like this idea of him just being a behind-the-scenes guy, just a guy who's like going around writing tunes, and maybe we get a Coyote Ugly where he goes to New York and tries to sell a song. Because I'd totally be about it.
I love that movie so much. Sky Patterson in the chat, whose birthday it actually is.
Hey!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Sky Patterson!
Sky Patterson. They said that Archie might join Josie and the Pussycats.
That would be amazing.
I mean, I guess he does have red hair.
Right.
So
he's also like, he doesn't have to do what they have to do, which is claw into the same rooms that it's like, that's like, I feel like it would be a little bit against the idea that Josie and the Pussycats have to just like let Archie in the band.
Yes.
But then again, progressive thinking. Josie seems like she's like pretty sweet actually inside. She's kind of fierce, but you know, she's got a good heart. So moving on from that for now to this entire Sticky Maple revenge plot that we've got going on. Chuck. The worst. Chuck Clayton.
The most awful.
Who I couldn't remember in the comics if Chuck Clayton was A, a character, B, a stupid white jock, or if he was, in fact, the character that he was in this comic book. And he actually is. He is an African-American character in the comics that goes back to 1971. I remember the name, but not what he looked like.
Me too.
I like just didn't really remember the character, but I guess he did show up here and there, so I must have read him at some point, because I knew the name a little bit. Do you ever remember reading him?
I have a vague memory of Chuck. I'm only 6 or 7 issues into the new Archie series, which I'm adoring, but I have not completed, and at that point in time, I don't think they had brought Chuck back. I definitely don't remember reading a character this dickish ever in an Archie series.
Yeah.
So again, I liked the character. I liked the swift arrow of just awfulness that he brought into this episode. But I would also like to see him die. Just a bloody, terrible death.
Well, it's also super dark because we don't know exactly what he's done to these other girls.
Yep, totally.
It's very glossed over, but they were so adamant about shaming him and like putting him away that I feel like he was a little rapey.
Well, you did catch it. The line that he uses is so just direct. Like the line that he says, fight back, you'll only make it harder on yourself. Which is like, you hear him say that and you're like, you posted a snap of her after making out in a car. Like, you're making it, like, the line you used is much, much, much more indicative of something far worse than what you did. Or that we know you did. So I agree with you. He came off as very rapey, and I think that line and the way that this episode played out was sort of like the PG-13 version of something that we don't really want to see on a CW show called Riverdale, like sexy teens of the dark side. It gets real, real, real if you go down that road, I think. But maybe they will go down that road. Maybe Chuck did do those things, and we'll find out that he
I think we're definitely going to go down there, especially since we have Polly in the Burn book, essentially. It's not called the Burn book here. That's Mean Girls.
Yeah.
But I think that...
But they did burn the book.
Yes. And we know that Polly went through some stuff and that she was hurt, but we don't know how and to what extent. She has the same rating as Veronica, which didn't seem to make a difference in, like, what was happening to them or what the guys wanted to have. Like, the ratings didn't seem to have any kind of correlation with one another. Gross.
So just a quick aside to lighten things up a little bit. Jamie Newman, Chuck was an ass, but he was really hot. Agreed. He was. He had all the muscles, just like Veronica said.
I really did enjoy.
Mostly he was just an asshole.
He was, though. Agreed. So the question, though, that I have is that we've been keeping a who has the best abs count on the CW The 100 show, and since one of my favorite characters got killed off, we had a new set. So my question is, who's in the lead right now? Is Archie or is it Chuck? I think that's the only two that we've got in contention, right?
Just from this show?
I think.
Yeah.
I hate to give Chuck any more clout, but I mean,
Yeah,
he
it seemed
had
like-
some good
You think
abs.
so?
Yeah.
Okay.
You could shave cheese on those things.
Yeah, cut glass.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, he's an ass. So sticking back to that, he is a TV character, by the way, just saying. You know, the real actor works
sure
hard
the
on his
actor
abs.
is
Yeah,
That's
let's
fine.
just say the real actor who plays Chuck has amazing abs.
Yes,
There you go.
I would agree. I would agree. So anyway, moving on to Chuck being a complete ass and shaming Veronica, and like, what about Cheryl Blossom like being like, you're all sluts? I was like, you're the worst. You're the actual worst.
The lack of awareness she has as she steps into that room is like mind numbing. Like for you to just all these girls who've come together to be like, look, we were attacked. Essentially, our character was certainly attacked, and we're trying to figure out a solution. And she's like, we have cheerleading practice. Let's get it together. Veronica's speech there was just, it was like stand and applaud worthy. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
Because when Veronica told Cheryl off in the first episode about how she likes to kind of rule through intimidation and fear, you see that Cheryl uses those tactics but not understanding the whole consequence of using those particular words.
Yeah.
While she thinks it's just intimidating and kind of beating people down, it's certainly much more hurtful than that.
Yeah, and I do just want to say I'm very confused about when, Cheryl admitted that Jason was basically trying to fake his own death, and they asked her why, and she said she didn't know. I mean, she has to know.
She has
Of course
to
she
know.
knows.
Right? And
They were
is she
so
really that
close.
oblivious to the whole book and that Jason was such a douche? Because she seemed, at the end sorry and sad about it, but I am just confused as to, is she really that, not stupid, but oblivious?
I believe that she might have been that oblivious about her brother. I think family is easy to be blindsided by their dark sides. Everything else, I think she just doesn't care.
And let's see, Brenda GP in the chat said, well, Jason probably made sure none of his guys did anything with his sister, and Cheryl was clueless about her brother. She honestly thought her brother was a good guy.
Yeah, right.
That sounds about right.
Definitely, and we kind of don't know to what extent he wasn't a good guy, but it's definitely assumed at this point there was something pretty nefarious going on.
Yeah, I guess you don't end up dead a week after you're, missing from the river if you're a great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so certainly he's got some skeletons in the closet that we'll find out over the course of the season.
She's also full of it as far as like what she knows and doesn't know, and what she thinks she knows and thinks she's hiding. I mean, there's two sides to it, because it seems like she's not telling some things she does, and there's other things she doesn't know.
Yeah, I definitely don't think she knows where her brother was going. And when she was like, he's supposed to come back or call me, I feel like that part of her story was true.
I just feel like I wouldn't say, like, c'est la vie, brother, I'm going to help you fake your death without knowing what exactly was happening.
Especially because she was in love with him, clearly. So
And they
definitely
were
some
just so
incest
intertwined.
happening.
You would think, like, if he wanted to leave, she would try to do everything she could to try to help him stay in Riverdale. So what's the problem? How can I help you solve it so you don't have to leave?
Or go
Agreed.
with him. It's interesting that they wanted to split up. That's suspicious.
Yes.
So after the story is being written and everybody gets together and Betty decides that she's going to go and try to trick Chuck. Just really like a quick aside, I mean, Chuck was a total moron in this episode, and they really made him like just a full idiot, like on every level. She was so directly trying to like trick him, and I was just sitting there watching, and I was like, I mean, I guess you are the worst and the dumbest, but like this is so obviously a ploy. Like,
I mean, or just
kind of-
or
Sorry,
just a
go
person that's so arrogant, like they're so secure in their position in
Yeah.
the social status there that it's like, yeah, nothing's gonna happen to me, so I can do anything I want and I don't have to worry.
I think
Yeah,
there
I
was an
guess.
element of surprise missing, just script writing wise. Like,
Yeah.
I wish either he'd come in and be like, I know you're setting me up, and like tried to turn it around on them, or if they had brought in another girl to try to seduce him when that wasn't in the room.
Yeah.
But it did feel like a rather straightforward plot line of like, I know where this is going.
yeah, like I feel like even in the world of Riverdale, there are TV shows, there are movies. He's seen this plot before if he's watches anything. Like, how do you not pay attention to that? So that, to me, that was a little thin. I
Well,
thought.
Brenda GP again says, never underestimate a horny teenage boy.
Sarah R's out here making predictions. I'm calling it now. Jason and Polly are half brothers and sisters, and that's why Betty's mom hated them together. And I bet Polly's pregnant, and Polly's mom sent her away so no one will know. I like all of that theory. All of that theory sounds small town, like hidden secrets. I like it.
Yes.
I've heard the pregnant Polly thing quite a bit, and
Yeah.
I think it might be onto something.
They do say she was in trouble and she was a bad girl and all this other stuff, which is a lot of lingo you link to a girl who finds herself in that situation early. So maybe.
So they're definitely teasing Betty getting closer and closer and closer to having a mental breakdown. And they've teased it also with Polly being in an institution. I mean, from what her mom says, they want you to think that obviously there's craziness that runs the family. I mean, Alice Cooper's crazy. So, and Betty keeps having these moments, digging her fingers into her palm. This entire whole charade she pulls with the wig and calling Chuck Jason and dumping maple syrup on him and like trying to kind of drown him a little bit. I thought Veronica was harsh. I was kind of like, what's she really doing? He's in a hot tub and you're dumping maple syrup on him, and you've got your foot on the top of his head. Like, that's the extent of what you're being like. You're a little overboard, Betty. It's like, no, you're not strangling him, not like whipping him. He's like a little bit overheated and you're dumping maple syrup on him.
Well, the heat was going up. I mean, he could have died in there.
We were definitely hitting the red zone territory of the
Yeah.
ship of where things are safe. I think that for Veronica, it was more like, well, we got our confession. Like, Veronica felt sated. She was like, I got what I wanted, and we're still going. Okay, I don't want to kill or hurt him permanently. I just wanted the confession. And it's also scary if you've ever been around somebody who's not fully in control of their actions.
Right,
like, especially for Betty to later say, like, I had no idea what I was doing, and either she's gaslighting and remembers and just wants to move past it, or she genuinely doesn't remember, which is equally as terrifying. I totally get why Veronica's like, take a breath. Like, what are we doing here? I don't understand where the plan went.
Right, like it could have gone a little bit further or gone overboard or something like that. I feel you on that one. I just sort of felt like, I don't know, what the guys did was like pretty awful, and like so he's in a hot tub, like big deal.
I mean, I honestly would have liked some admission to sexual assault, like beyond, like to know. I think that what they did was actually kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
And if we would have known that, Ethel, who was watching, quite enjoying the entire thing, by the way.
Wonderful.
And let's just give a shout out to Ethel. She is from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And I love her. Her name is, Shannon Purse, and she played Barb.
She sure did.
It's so, I was like, I looked at her and I go, is that?
Yeah, everybody loves Barb. Everybody misses Barb.
This is definitely the reveal I've been waiting for.
It was very exciting.
Well, it's interesting with Alice and Betty's relationship because finding out that I guess you kind of see that when she invaded Jason's autopsy. That I mean, she runs a paper in the town,
right?
So to really see like she has no problem just throwing her own opinions and agenda in any article that's written in for the newspaper, and to see how Betty kind of takes that and at least tries to start up the school newspaper and at least try to do a more balanced and fair kind of reporting. So
with Juggy,
yeah.
Yeah.
I like Juggy as a reporter. That's all right. I don't want to read his writing, but I like him as an investigative reporter.
How are y'all feeling about Cole Sprouse's performance thus far?
I really
I love it. I think he's way better than I thought he was going to be.
Did y'all watch The Sweet Life back in the day? Did anybody?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. They were on sea. They went on sea for a while too. There you go.
Yeah. They did go on sea.
The Sweet Life on Deck, right? That was
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. Cool. All right, so the revenge plot goes swimmingly. It all gets exposed. They take pictures of the book. They burn the book. The coach has to cut his son and all his cronies from the team.
Who's going to play football now, though?
Archie!
I know, Archie's like not really playing anymore. Well, actually, he's still playing.
Well, I mean, he's going to have to be like the only player because all of them are creepy, apparently.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that, like, at one point when Cheryl was like, proof of what? The boys will be boys. But it's like, there was so many messages in this episode that were just so clear, which is that, like...
That's like a Donald Trump, boys will be boys,
yeah, right.
locker room talk.
Exactly, that nonsense. It's like, I agree with you. That's the kind of stuff that you just, like, say when you like, I want to ignore something that's actually
it's like
offensive.
very, Ivanka to me.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that was one thing about just, sticking with the point in the episode we were still talking about that I really did enjoy is that Veronica traditionally as a character was kind of like selfish and villainous. She was super vain, and she was not really somebody who would like stand up for the underdog in the comics. That was kind of always Betty's job. I like that Veronica comes in as she's called by Chuck, former it girl, which she didn't take any offense to, which I thought was interesting. I thought that she might have been offended that she was called a former it girl.
I mean, she's trying to shed that image. She said in the first episode, like, I don't want to be that mean girl anymore. I don't want to be alienating. And she's made a really valiant effort to be a good friend to Betty, even though she had that little slip up in the closet.
Yep.
She's been working really hard to be a better person. And to see her this episode come out and be like, was it Total Dark, No Stars? Or no
Full Dark, No Stars?
Full Dark, No Stars, which is definitely the new motto. And just go balls to the wall and be like, no, I accept none of this and no boundaries and nothing will stop me. It was really cool.
Agreed. And what I really liked about it is that her message is like, we all may be 15 and 16-year-old girls where like we're all scared of standing up to the big popular kids in high school, but like that's just not going to stand. We're going to stand up. We're going to expose them. You are strong, beautiful, confident women. And unfortunately, that's not really the way that high school often is for people. It's
God, no.
high school
Or
is,
life.
High school is pretty terrifying. There's a really, really unfair like sexism, gender imbalance in our world that like women continue to have to keep fighting against, and like good guys should be standing up to help. But I like that this show was just like, we're gonna just make them like the former it girl from New York, the popular girl, stand up for all of these women. and just make it the point of the episode, and the guys will pay, and there will be vengeance, and that's what this show is going to tell us this episode.
And I
It was
didn't just
great.
stand up for them, but she brought them together, and they were able to make a solution to their problem. Like, they fixed it themselves, and it was beautiful. It was a great moment.
Yeah.
I mean, Veronica has always been like my what I want to be kind of, even though she's vain and whatever. When I read the comics, I was just like, no, she's misunderstood. But I love the way that they are portraying her, and I love how she gets everyone together, and she's so complimentary to the girls. She's like, you all are beautiful, and you all are amazing, and we are all in the same boat together. And I just love that. Do
you want to do a B&E with B&V?
Yeah.
My
You wanna be a
favorite
part
line
of
of this
squad?
episode.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And I do like that because it's like her relationship with her mother is probably one of the healthiest relationships that we see on the show.
It is.
So which is surprising given that you think of just Veronica. You think
Hermione
like
Lodge,
yes.
too, yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. All right, so moving on to the last couple bits of the show we have an interview with Dilton that exposes what's going on with Archie and Miss Grundy, apparently.
And the gunshot. We have a lot of context through that
Do
conversation.
you guys think that's real? Is that true?
What do you mean?
That the gunshot was just him? It wasn't anything?
I think so. Yeah, I don't think because they say he died a couple days later. So to hear
A
that
week
gunshot on the day of,
Well, right.
it was either to. My initial thought was, oh well, maybe they like maimed him and then brought him in or something.
But he was frozen.
Yeah, so I think the gunshot, that part of the story is true. First of all, what reason would that kid have to lie? Secondly, I guess if Dilton didn't see anything, because I was thinking as Dilton was talking, like why wouldn't you have just come clean in the first place? But I guess all he saw was Miss Grundy's car, and so he's like, if I see Miss Grundy's car and I'm shooting a gun, and Jason goes missing, like, I guess I could be more truthful, but like, what do I really know? I don't know anything. All I was doing was doing target practice, and I'll get kicked out of this thing. I'll like, lose my scholarship or whatever he said. Like, and he's obviously a kid who really cherishes being a part of that. So I can see that he's scared, and that's probably why he lied.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe you weren't supposed to be showing a bunch of kids how to shoot a gun. That
Right.
seems maybe not. So
He's a hardcore survivalist.
right.
Okay.
And to be fair on everybody in the show, like the story has been he drowned.
Yeah.
And so I don't need to report anything. The kid just drowned, and now that it's murder, there's people who have to talk.
Right.
No, and I would say as much as I've been giving, I gave Archie a hard time at the beginning of the episode, saying he doesn't get any and no repercussions or anything. I will give it up for him the fact that he did go to the principal and the sheriff and see
But
what
he
he
protected the
he
pedo.
he still did, yeah. But at least he was
So done with
he was
her.
willing to go for it.
That ship needs to go down. I am done with these two as a couple. Why are they back together at the end of
I
this
know.
episode?
She's like
Ugh.
so. Let's make a Valentine's Day, or let's make a 4th of July. You'll never forget.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, come on.
And then her
He's like
heart
15.
sunglasses,
Yeah.
when she came in. And then, of course, his father and her
like
meet.
crushing on her,
Yeah.
which was really weird. I'm like, Dad, don't do this.
Yeah, they didn't look like that back in my day, son.
Yeah.
That's
And
a
I was
great
like,
line.
please don't touch that.
Yeah.
Ew.
that
What if
would
they
be-
sleep together? All of a
They
sudden-
might. They
Archie
legit.
can't handle that emotionally.
I think her type is a little younger.
Yeah. Yeah,
Maybe.
I guess. Oh man, if they go down that road, that'd be great. That'd be a great story.
Well, okay, so I've heard this a lot, you guys, and I think, but Sky Patterson says Ms. Grundy probably had a relationship with Cheryl's brother Jason, killed out of a crime of passion. But I mean, it doesn't really I mean, I know the murder didn't happen when the gunshot happened, like we think.
Yeah.
But, they keep on doing these things that Archie and Jason look alike.
Yeah, definitely. And it's with the stuff they were showing from next week's episode in the previews about Miss Grundy being like a lot more creepy than we realize. Maybe actually there is something more going on than we realize. I don't know. Let's talk a little bit more about Archie's interaction with Fred Andrews, just because there was a little bit of arguing there. I thought this was a really interesting moment when Archie says to him, would you let me play if it was a football game? And he doesn't have a good answer. And he's like, it's because you don't respect my music, because you've never respected it or taken it seriously at all.
Since you mentioned it this summer, that's what 16-year-olds say. You never appreciated my music. Dude, you've been doing this for like a couple of months. Calm down. It's okay.
But I can also understand like a father not knowing, like somebody expressing an interest in something and not thinking like, well, football, I can see the clear path.
Sure.
You can get a scholarship that can afford you a college education. You can go off and do something else. So music seems like such an uncertainty, and who knows if you're really passionate about it? It's something that's just the flavor of the week. Mm-hmm. So I can understand his kind of reluctance to like, I can't give you that honest answer. Would I let you go?
Yeah. The thing about it that I liked was that he actually had to pause and think, and he didn't just say, "Of course I would, because I'm your father and I support you."
Yeah.
I thought that was great. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, aside from that, though, Archie pretty much was just like, I'm not going to listen to you. My music's more important than respecting my father. Yeah. So build me a recording studio and verify that, in fact, the woman at school that I think is beautiful, you also think is beautiful, and give me that affirmation so I can keep chasing that and defy you and write music.
Yeah.
It felt like, to me, like a mother and a daughter. Because, like, the mother, the daughter's like, "God, Mom, why do you have to be so awful?" And the mom's like, "I'm just trying to help you and understand your way." And the daughter's like, "Oh, so angsty. Like, I love somebody. Like, I love my art." And I get that guys do it too, but for me, it just felt like such a female, like, mother-daughter moment.
Yeah.
And I liked that because, in a way, father-son could be the exact same thing.
Yeah. Definitely. Any other thoughts on this before we jump into what we think is going to happen?
Yeah, I don't know, because we see the scene of Archie sneak in to see the song being performed by Josie and the Pussycats, and because it was so critical that he had to go to that. You can ground me for 6 months, a year, whatever, but I just need to go to this. But I felt like we see him pop up, and I was already like, "You're such a jerk, Archie, for popping up in this." But then I felt like it didn't really pay off in any sense, because he just watched, he goes, "Okay, I'm going to sneak back home." Like, there was nothing like...
It's just like self-love.
Yeah, he didn't need... I don't know if he needed that.
You want the hammer to come down on Archie?
I would have loved it. Just that, all of a sudden, Fred's Archie sense starts tingling, and he looks up and goes, "Archie!"
I know.
I see you, son.
And one other thing that I thought of, and this is totally like it's understandable why the TV show would do it this way, but like, I played music for 12 years. I moved out here to do that. That's like, I understand rehearsing, I understand writing, like performing. You don't write a song on Wednesday, go to the thing that you rehearsed for all week, and the song you premiere is the song you wrote 48 hours ago, unless it's like the best song you've ever written, and it's so simple and easy to perform, and you know all the parts. Like,
so usually it's an acoustic solo thing.
You play the hit
in my bedroom.
You play if you're gonna play one song, which is like Archie was like, "I need to go to here and play this one song."
Yeah.
It's like you play the hit. You play the one that is the showstopper that everybody knows, because that's the way the world is. And then
Sugar,
occasionally
from last week.
you play Sugar Sugar, and they can't do that because it's the show. But for Archie to be like, they're gonna play one song, I have to see them perform this one song for the first time because they'll never perform it again, and also it's gonna be like, it's going to time perfectly, so I'll be there just for that one song, and then I'll get home before you get home, because they're only going to play for 3.5 minutes. That's TV for you.
Well, Kalal Kent in the chat said Archie's dad should take away his guitar to piss him off and give him a real punishment. Truth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like building him a recording studio.
I was going to say, the garage only seems like a reward. You snuck out, you beat me, son. Have the garage. It's all for you.
Sweet. Yeah, he believes in him now, because Miss Grundy was like, he's special. He could really be something.
Because she's so hot and believable with glasses.
Have I told you guys that I love her yet? Have I made that clear to everybody? I'm just kidding. Anyway, let's get into predictions with what we think is going to happen.
And now,
no laughs.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I will say, as I talked about earlier, like a big, huge backstory with all the adults in the show. Because there's that moment where Josie's mother goes and talks to Cheryl's parents, and just the reaction she has on her face is just like had a mixture of hurt or regret or something like that. Where when they look back at her, so there's definitely. I feel like at some point in the season we're going to get like at least a flashback episode dealing all around the parents to understand some of the story points that kind of reflect what we're seeing in the present day.
Yeah, big time. Well, I mean, because it's all in the relationships their kids have had and the hurt and all the stuff with Polly and Jason and everything. It's like that's what it all comes from. So I think we'll get those flashbacks, and I agree with you.
Yeah, I think that we will meet Polly, and she'll be super messed up and maybe with a baby. I don't know.
You just think the baby's coming.
Well, yeah, that's why they sent her away, and why Betty can't see her is because she's freaking pregnant.
Interesting.
And she's about to pop. And
How far away is she? She would have to be in another town. Riverdale is too small. She can't be in Riverdale somewhere.
No, I mean they probably sent her a couple towns over, like sent her some kind of institute to have this baby. And I also think that Betty's going to continue to get crazier and crazier.
I agree with that. She's moving towards the mental breakdown. Is this place she's going to have the baby going to be like in Lost with the others? They're going to take the baby, and then she's going to have to.
Maybe it's like
and they're
starting
going to throw it in the upside down.
Just go like a dark place.
It's going to be amazing.
There were a lot of tweets and comments this week about there being some kind of secret society that's supernatural in Riverdale, and I love that. And that's where Sabrina the Teenage Witch
bring out Sabrina.
Yeah,
I'm
just
ready.
Sabrina. Yeah, they're gonna bring out Sabrina at some point. There's going to be a supernatural component to this show, which I freaking can't wait.
I heard a rumor she'll show up in the finale.
The finale?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
You guys know, by the way, who plays Archie's mom in this show? She hasn't shown up yet. The actress.
No.
Molly Ringwald.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. I'm really excited.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you got Luke Perry, you got Molly
Molly Ringwald
Ringwald,
would make Archie.
Robin Givens. They're all sitting around hanging out.
Oh my god, what a great set to be on.
Yeah.
Predictions for next week. I think we're gonna see Veronica do some more crazy stuff. I feel like Veronica hasn't quite found her like niche thing. Like she does the cheerleading with Betty, but Betty's not got the paper, and Archie. Everyone's got two things except for Veronica, and I don't know what it's gonna be. I'm kind of hoping a fashion club is too shallow, but also it fills my teen drama spirit with like a lot of love. So I don't know, but I hope that Veronica gets her own like A story next week.
I hope it's Dilton teaching her to shoot. That's what I hope. Sure.
Oh my god, that's an amazing idea. Yes, that.
She just becomes a sharpshooter. That's what I
Yes.
want to have happen. I think my predictions, I'm really just excited about next week's episode. The previews for next week were great. I thought it was so cool, and I guess we're not really supposed to talk that much about the preview because I think everybody
Well,
watches
why?
and watches
Everyone
it.
It's right after.
Yeah, but I love when they're like, the real Miss Grundy died, and you're like, yeah, because in the comics she was like, she was
Super
like,
old.
Yeah.
she was like an
Who
old
is this
woman with
lady?
a graying hair and a big nose and little glasses. Like that was the comic book character.
And
So-
people were saying that they were afraid Miss Grundy was going to be Sabrina, but we hope not. Everyone hopes not, but that is a theory people in the chat have, that Miss Grundy is actually Sabrina.
love that.
She's not the teenage witch, and I do not approve.
So I love the idea that like we're dealing with some real creepy stuff. That actually Miss Grundy is like not who she says she is, and that she's like maybe she's like a murderer hiding from another town or something. I don't know. That's all awesome. So I'm excited for that. My actual predictions. Geez, I feel like Archie's going to have a relationship of some kind with one of the Pussycats. That was something I picked up on a little bit tonight. Not Josie, but I think Archie's
I
going to...
think Jughead's gonna go with Josie, the one who's songwriter who was like, "Oh yeah, Archie,
Yeah.
definitely I like all these things." They would make a cute couple, and then like, or at least like a date or two.
Yeah, that's what I
wouldn't
think.
mind seeing. That'd
I
be
think
cute.
that's something that's going to happen.
Some ab touching.
True.
Some
Because
ab-touching.
they did do that at least one issue, if not two, where he did date one of the Pussycats. He was in a
Yes.
relationship.
Yes.
So.
Right.
I also wouldn't mind a battle of the bands. I'm ready for it. I don't know who's playing.
Who's in Archie's band, though?
Jughead in the comic books. It's Jughead, Betty. I think Veronica on tambourine.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, you're right. She is on tambourine.
Yeah. So I don't think that's the grouping we're gonna get.
They always
but
learn instruments.
I really wouldn't mind if we could see like a couple of like battle bands, like maybe Archie and Josie have a fight, and Archie's like, "I'm totally a songwriter," and she's like, "You don't even know the first thing about songwriting," and then they like have to go. I just want that.
Yeah, okay, I'm with you on that.
That'll be fun.
Guys, share your predictions with us in the chat. We want to know what you have to say, what you think. Thank you for watching the show tonight. And if you guys want to follow along with the conversation, where can everybody find you? Starting with Happy Go Jackie.
You can find, that's right, Ben said it best. You can find me anywhere on social media at Happy Go Jackie.
And you guys can find me, Sam Davidson, at SamDavidsonEntertainment.com, Twitter and Instagram at Sammy43. And I just want to say thank you to Peace by Dana Pruitt. They made me this awesome crystal necklace, and follow them on Instagram. I got a lot of good vibes over here.
Cool.
Yes, I'm Joelle Monique. You can find me all over the internet at Joelle Monique, and every week at blackgirlnerds.com. Come back Wednesdays for The Magicians, which is amazing, and if you're not watching it, you definitely want to catch up. I also do Powerless earlier today. You can go check that out. That's a lot of fun. And then I was with the Collider guys over at Schmoes No. We talked about Lego Batman, and it was a rip-roaring good time, so go over there and check that out, too.
Super cool. Yeah, guys, I'm here also. Other places you can find me doing the 100 After Show on Wednesdays and Action Movie Anatomy on the Popcorn Talk Network, breaking down the best action movies of all time on Wednesdays. Thanks for following Ben Bateman Media. I'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.